Hello everyone, this is teacher Yekon, and I am an history teacher, and I want to assist learners in revising history and government. At this point of time, I want to take you through section A. I want to take you through section A. That is what you expect in section A, history and government. And before I continue, I want to take this opportunity first of all to welcome every one of you on board. Ensure that you assist me by subscribing this video. You also ensure that you like, and if possible you share with other learners so that they may also get to learn what we have learned during this day. Now let me go direct to what we expect, that is in section A, history and government 2024. In history and government, that is history and government paper 1. It is divided into 3 sections, as you know. I know that historians know what I am talking about. The sections are section A, section B, and section C. And as I earlier said, that at this point of time, I only want to take you through section A, which contains 25 marks. In section A, that is 311/1, you expect around 17 questions. And in this section, learners are always asked either 1 answer question or 2 answer questions at most. So as you all know, you as historians, that history paper 1 normally deals with the Kenyan history or the history of Kenya. So I know that most of the learners doesn't know the topics which are normally tested, that is in paper 1. So before we even go ahead and see what we expect in those topics, I just want to take you through the topics of paper 1. And we are saying that under section A, all paper 1 topics are set in KCSE. Here we don't predict either this topic will be set or not. Now, topic number 1 we are having is Introduction to History and Government. That is the first topic in Form 1. It cut across both paper 1 and paper 2. So when you are revising for History and Government, that is paper 1, ensure you revise that topic. Same case to paper 2. We have topic number 2, the people of Kenya up to 19th century. That is also another important topic in paper 1. Topic 3, the socio-economic and political organization of Kenyan communities, that is in 19th century. Also a very, very important topic as far as paper 1 is concerned. Topic 4, there is contact between East Africa and outside world. That is still Form 1 topic. Topic 5, citizenship. Topic 6, national integration. So from topic 1 to topic 6, those topics are majorly Form 1 topics, and it lies under paper 1. So it means that when you are using your book, that is KLP book 1 or Evolving World book 1, those in Form 1, Form 1 book normally carries around 90% content of paper 1. So ensure that when you are revising, make use of book 1, that is book 1 Form 1, History and Government, when you are revising for paper 1. Now, when we proceed, that is topic 7, we have Constitution and Constitution Making. Topic 8, Democracy and Human Rights. Topic 9, Establishment of Colonial Rule in Kenya. Topic 10, the social and economic developments in Kenya during colonial period. Topic 11, we have the political developments and the struggle for independence in Kenya. Topic 12, lives and contributions of Kenyan leaders. Topic 13, formation, structure and functions of the government of Kenya. Topic 14, socio-economic and political challenges in Kenya since independence. Topic 15, national philosophies. 16, devolved government, and lastly, public revenue and expenditure. So learners, all those topics are topics under paper 1. And in section A, expect all those topics to appear in the KCSE. So here we cannot predict. Now, let's move forward and see what we expect in each and every topic as far as paper 1 is concerned. Now, in this topic of introduction to history and government, these are the questions which you can't miss, even if you are given any of the paper 1 paper. Now, we have question 1 under introduction to history and government. The question says that state one advantage of written material as a source of information in history and government. This question traced on sources of information in history and government. And we know that under this, we normally have 3 main sources of information. That is in history and government. We have unwritten sources. We have written sources. Then we have electronic sources. We have 3 sources. Now, the question is asking about advantage of written material as a source of information in history and government. The answers we expect here, something which has been written under advantages, it means that the information which it has been written could be used for future reference. So we are saying number 1, it stores information for future reference. The good thing about something which it has been written is that it can also be translated into various languages. It cannot also be changed, or it cannot be altered at any case. So those are some of the advantages of written sources. It's also good for you to look at advantages of written sources, for instance, archaeology, for instance, oral traditions, for instance, linguistics, and the rest. Same case to electronic sources. Look at both advantages and disadvantages, because, for instance, you can be asked any of the 3. Now, let's move to question 2. Give one contribution of archaeology to the study of history. Archaeology. Under this question is also trying to test on advantages of archaeology contribution. And we are saying that archaeology is a method in which it helps in reconstructing the history of man in prehistoric times. In this case, when we talk about prehistoric times, these are times whereby the history or the art of writing had not been invented during the study of history. So most of the information were being carried out through, for example, the word of mouth, through archaeology and the rest. Number 2, another advantage of archaeology, we are saying it complements other sources of information. In this case, other sources we are talking about here, it could be, we have written sources, it could be also electronic sources and other sources. Now, under question 3, identify 2 sources of Kenyan history. If you are asked about sources of Kenyan history, you just apply the sources of information, that is in history and government. For instance, we have oral traditions, archaeology, written sources, and electronic sources. Those are the answers you are supposed to give under that question. Question 4, identify the main source of information used by Kenyan communities. Currently in Kenya, which was used by Kenyan communities, for example, during the colonial period. In Kenya, which main source of information was used? Of course, it is oral traditions, the passing of information through the word of mouth. That was the main method of source of information which was used by Kenyan communities. That question is common in most of the papers. You will encounter that question. Now let's move to question 5. Identify two ways through which archaeologists obtain information on history and government. Sources in which archaeologists obtained information. Where they get information. Number one, we are saying that they normally get information by locating the prehistoric sites. Number two, dating fossils. Number three, recording their findings, and also excavating sites. Those are methods used by archaeologists to locate, to obtain information that is on the history, on the history of Kenya. Question 6. Give two reasons for starting government. Give two reasons for starting government. Remember, the topic by itself is history and government. We normally learn about history and also government. And what are some of the importance of studying government by a learner? Number one, we are saying that it develops a sense of patriotism. Patriotism means what? It makes one to become a responsible citizen. It also makes one to become loyal to his country. Apart from that, it also makes one to have positive attitudes towards his country. That is it. Apart from making one, or it develops a sense of patriotism, it also makes us aware of our rights. Through the study of government, we are able to know our rights as citizens, and also it enables one to understand how the three arms of government operates. And I hope at this point of time, all historians know about the arms of government, because it's also an important aspect as far as government is concerned. Now, let's move to question 7. Identify two limitations of written materials used by historians as a source of history and government. Remember, while we were looking at question 1, I had told you that apart from you looking at the advantages of written sources, go to an extra mile and also look at the limitations or disadvantages of written sources or written materials. For example, in this case, written materials are materials such as books, we have journals, we have diaries, and the rest. Now, what are some of the limitations? Limitations are disadvantages. Number one, we are saying that written sources cannot be used by illiterate people who don't know how to read, so they cannot be able to use those written sources. They are also expensive to obtain. Take, for example, a journal, a book, for instance. It is not that easy. You need to buy it at an higher price. Now, question 8. Identify one branch of history. Remember, in history and government, we normally learn about 3 branches. That is the political history, we have social history, and economic history. And when you are asked to identify any one, you just give one of those 3, and also know how to define the 3 branches of history. Now, apart from that, let's move to question 9. And question 9 is saying that name 2 written materials used by historians as a source of history and government. Written materials. I had just given you an hint on that. For example, we have books, we have diaries, we have journals, newspapers, and magazines. That is just the easiest question. Now, let's continue. Let's move to the next question. That is question 10. Give the meaning of history. Of course, history is the study of man's past events. Question 11. Give 2 unwritten sources of information in history and government. This question is also an easy question. Unwritten sources: archaeology, paleontology, we have oral traditions, genetics, linguistics, and the rest. Now, question 12. Give 2 archaeological sources of information on history and government. Archaeological sources of information. We have number 1. We have what we call tools, ornaments, weapons, plants and animals, and lastly, you can give settlements. Question 13. Give 2 limitations of using anthropology as a source of information in history and government. These questions still takes us to the first question. I told you that as an historian, especially when you are reading about sources of information on history and government. Ensure that in the three main sources you look at advantages and also disadvantages, because you could be asked when it comes to this year, so take note of that. Now, so we are saying number one, it is expensive. It is also time consuming. Question 14, identify one type of artifact that is likely to be found in an archaeological site or a prehistoric site. What kind of artifact can be found in an archaeological site? For example, we have coins, we have pottery, and also pits. Those are the artifacts which, in case you go to any archaeological site, you will find those artifacts. Now, question 15, state one way in which the study of history and government promotes a sense of patriotism. Remember this patriotism, as we had seen, we had said that under the importance of studying government, we say that it promotes patriotism to the learner. And ways in which the study of history promotes patriotism. We are saying number one, it enables one to be a responsible citizen. Number two, it makes one to be or to become a loyal to his country. Then number three, it makes one to have positive attitude, that is towards his country. So ensure you know that, because if in case it is said, most of the students will not be able to answer that question, and yet it is such an easy question. Now, question 16, give the relationship between history and government. If in case you encounter such a question is only asking you about, for example, you defined history and also government, but ensure you joined the two definitions. For example, history refers to the study of man's past events, while government refers to the study of how people are governed. Mark that word while or whereas. You are supposed to connect the two definitions using those words for your answer to become valid. Now let's move to question 17. For example, question 17, give two ways in which archaeologists identifies an historic or an archaeological site. So in this case, ways or methods used by archaeologists to identify prehistoric or archaeological sites. We together on this, and the answers you expect, for example, they normally use their own experience and skills. They also use, for example, historical research by researching through historical documents. At least they will be able to identify an historic site. Question 18, which is also a common question as far as this first topic is concerned. Give two methods used by elders to pass information to young generation on history and government in the traditional African communities. Under this question, the question by itself is asking you about forms of oral traditions. You could be seeing this question as a difficult question, but it's just easy. It's just revolves around the introduction to history and government. Ways or methods used by elders to pass information. Example number one, they use stories, they use songs, they use myths, proverbs, you can add legends, tongue twisters, and the rest. Question 19, define the term prehistory. Prehistory, remember prehistory is among the periods in history. In history we have two periods. We have prehistory, then we have history. When we talk about prehistory, we are saying that prehistory refers to the study of unrecorded past events, or the study of history during times when the art of writing had not been invented. Whereas when you are asked about history, the study of history, for example, when the art of writing had already been invented. Are we together on that? Now let's move to question 20. State two chemical methods used by archaeologists. Remember, we have those methods used by archaeologists to date fossils, and we have several. But under this, the question is just specific. You give chemical methods of dating, and we normally have two. That is, we have potassium agot dating, and we have radiocarbon dating. Mark that. Now, you're also supposed to know the other methods of dating fossils. So that if in any case you are asked, for example, give two methods of dating fossils, you will not talk about the two chemical methods part. We'll talk about the rest, for example, stratigraphy. For example, you can give statistical dating and the rest. So, next question: give two dating methods used by archaeologists: chemical dating, statistical dating. That was what I was talking about. Question 22: state two forms of monarchical government. Remember, in history and government, we normally have forms of government, and under forms of government, we normally have 5 forms of government. Number 1, you have monarchical government. Number 2, we have aristocratic government. Number 3, we have what we call democratic government. Number 4, we can also talk about dictatorial government. Then number 5, we have anarchy. So under this, we are asked about monarchical government. And we have 2, constitutional monarch and absolute monarch. Constitutional monarch is a type of monarchical government which is being used in Britain. Now let's move to question 23. Another question 23, we have been asked, state the arm of government that interprets law, which implements the law, and which made the laws respectively. In this case, this question is trying to ask us about the arms of government, and we have 3 arms of government. That is, we have judiciary, we have legislature, then we have executive. Under this, judiciary normally interprets the law. Mark that, judiciary interprets the law. Executive normally implements the law. Mark that. You can just name the arm of government which implements the law. We have executive. Legislature, they normally made and amends laws. Legislature, that is the parliament. Now, question 24. State 2 characteristics of an historical event. Remember, this is also under the introduction to history and government. Characteristics of an historical event. It must concern man. It must dwell on the past happenings. It must be written or unwritten. It must also contain an element of the truth. So ensure you know those ones. Now let's now move to our next discussion. That is the early man. Let's now move to this topic of early man. I know that most of you will be arguing with me that early man is a paper 2 topic. Perhaps you have been told by your teachers. Yes, I accept that. But under early man, you also have some content which applies in paper 1, but a small part of it, not everything. Yes, so under early man, remember, even when we were going through the topics of paper 1, we didn't talk about early man. This early man is most of the content is for paper 2, but in paper 1 we also have some part of it content applying in paper 1. Another is, for example, question 1, and which it is this question is common in most of the in most of the section A questions, whereby learners are being asked, apart from Fort Tenan, name any other place where Kenya Piticus was discovered in Kenya, apart from Fort Tenan. Remember, Fort Tenan is a prehistoric site which is found in Kericho. So you have been asked, apart from that prehistoric site in Kenya, name any other prehistoric site where Kenya Piticus were discovered. Now, under this, we have around 3 other places apart from Fort Tenan. We have Samburu Hills, we also have Lake Baringo, and then we also have Lake Turkana Basin. So mark that. Question 2, under early man, which you can also be asked in paper 1, you can also be asked, for example, name one prehistoric site in Kenya that is found outside Rift Valley. Remember, most of the prehistoric sites which we are having in Kenya, most of them are you can find them in Rift Valley. Now, we also have those which are found outside Rift Valley. For instance, we have what we call a prehistoric site called Pangaya Saidi. Yes, a prehistoric site called Pangaya Saidi. It is found in Kilifi, that is in the coastal part of Kenya. So Pangaya Saidi is not found in Rift Valley. That is the answer. Now, Let's move to the third topic, that is the people of Kenya up to 19th century. Under this topic, most of the paper 1 under section D questions normally also comes from this topic, and you need to analyze all the Kenyan communities in this case. You are supposed to have them in your fingertips for you to at least attempt questions on this topic. This topic, in other words, I can say it is one of the easiest topics as far as history and government is concerned, and for you as a learner, you're supposed to be smart. You're supposed to know how to read this topic for you to obtain or to know all the information concerning this topic. Under this topic, let's just go through it very fast because we cannot just take much time on this. Now, number 1, state one way in which Apakusi and Kipsigis interacted in the pre-colonial period. Ways of interactions among the Kenyan communities during pre-colonial period. And we normally have the 3 ways in which the Kenyan communities interacted. For example, number 1, they interacted through trade. Number 2, they interacted through intermarriages. Number 3, they also interacted through raids, or what we call warfare. Are we together on that? Now, question 2. Give one way in which the knowledge of iron working helped in the migration of the Bantus. Remember, the Bantus had the knowledge of iron working. They were the one who knows to, for example, to make iron tools, iron weapons, and all that. Now, how did that knowledge help them as far as migration is concerned? For example, the knowledge of iron working enabled them to make better weapons, which they used to conquer other communities. Apart from that, it also enabled them to make better farm tools. And other things, the farm tools enabled them, for example, to clear their land, thus helping them, for example, in the migration. Question 3, which is also common as far as history and government is concerned under this topic. Name the dispersal area of Eastern Bantus. If you are an historian and you don't know that question, then you need to read and read wider. Shungwaya. Shungwaya area is an area whereby the Eastern Bantus disperse, for example, to other places, whereby we have those who disperse to coastal areas and those who disperse to Mount Kenya region. And under this, the reasons why they dispersed, that is from Shungwaya region, is because they were attacked by the Kara, that is the Eastern Kushites. That's the reason why they dispersed from that area known as Shungwaya. Now, question 4, what is the original homeland of Eastern Kushites? In any case, you are asked about Kushites and their original homeland. The original homeland of Kushites is Ethiopian Islands. Mark that. Then, apart from that, question 5. State the first settlement area of the Luo during their migration from Sudan. Remember also the Nilotes. The original homeland is a place by the name Bar El Ghazal that is found in South Sudan. So we are, the question is asking about where the Luo settled before entering Kenya, especially in Uganda. They settled in a place by the name Pupungu Bakwach. Mark that right. Now, question 6. Identify one natural factor that caused Apakusi to migrate from Mount Elgon region to their original homeland, or to their present homeland. Now, when we talk about the natural factor, you can also call it environmental factors. In this case, for example, we have the reasons why the Kenyan communities migrated. And in those reasons, we could be having, for example, natural factors, economic factors, political factors. So under this, we are going to apply environmental factors or natural factors. Number 1, for example, they were affected by what we are calling diseases and epidemics, both animal and human. Number 2, you can also say that they were affected by drought and famine. That is among the natural factors. Now let's move to question 7. What's the main reason for the migration of Eastern Bantus from Shungwaya during the pre-colonial period? I had told you that they were attacked by the Kala. Now question 8. Name 2 Bantu groups in Kenya which settled in Mount Elgon area before migrating to their present homeland. Of course, we have talked about Apakusi, the reasons why they migrated from Mount Elgon areas. So that is number 1 group of Bantus, or what you are calling it, Western Bantus. We have Apakusi. We also have Apakuria. Remember Apakuria? Currently, they are settling in Migori County. Abagusi, Kisii County, and also Nyamira. Now, question 9. Name 2 groups of island islets who were left in Mount Elgon area. Remember, when island islets migrated, we have some group which was left in Mount Elgon areas, and among these 2 groups, we are having Bok and Bokomiek, and even Kony. Those are the groups of island islets which were left in the Mount Elgon areas. Then question 10. Name 2 remnants communities in western part of Kenya. The most important thing under remnants, or what we are calling it early inhabitants, or what we are calling it under and gathered communities. These were the original, this was the first people, this was the earliest people who used to live in Kenya. When we talk about the western Kenya, we are having 2 groups, that is Onguye and Onguro. When we talked about the other remnants, we'll also talk about the Khoisan. We will also have the Okiek or the Robo. We also have Kumba or Achi, and also Southern Kushes also form this part of remnants Kenya. So mark that. Question 11. But being asked about name 1 under and gathered community in Kenya, of course you can name Khoisan, Onkure, Okiek, and the rest. Question 12. Name the main reason why Mijikenda lived in Kayas. This one's why Mijikenda lived in Kayas is because they wanted to enhance their security. That is for security. Question 13. Name the largest linguistic group in Kenya. Of course, it is the Bantus. Bantus is the largest linguistic group that is in Kenya. Question 14. Name the original homeland of Bantus, that is Congo Basin. Name the original homeland of Nilotes, Barel Kasal. Name the main economic activity of the Kushites, that is pastoralism. Name the main economic activity of the Bantus, they were caliphatas. Now, under the Bantus, you can be asked about, for example, the island Bantus, that is the Akamba. There was a time that question was asked, give the main economic activity of the Akamba. In this case, the main economic activity of the Akamba, even though they form part of the Bantus, is what we call livestock keeping. So ensure you note that. The main economic activity also of the Kushites, you can talk about pastoralism. Same case to the Nilotes, they were also pastoralists. Now let's now move to the next part. Let's now move to the next topic, that is topic 4. And under this topic, topic 4 normally it is about political, social, and economic organizations of Kenyan communities, that is in the 19th century. And under this topic, the questions you expect in paper 1, section A are among the following. Number 1, can be asked about state 2 functions of the Council of Elders, that is during Cheka of the Ameru. Functions of the Council of Elders. As a student, you are supposed to have those ones in your fingertips. They settled disputes. They maintained law and order. They also presided over religious ceremonies. You can apply to all Council of Elders in Kenya because it applies to all Council of Elders. So as far as you know those functions, even if you are asked about, for example, functions of the Council of Elders among the Nandi, the Kok, you can still apply the same. Now, question 2. State 2 duties of the Orkoyot among the Nandi. What are some of the duties of the Orkoyot among the Nandi? Remember, Orkoyot he was like a prophet, so he foretold the future. He was also acted as a symbol of unity. Apart from acting as a symbol of unity, he was also, he also acted as a final court of appeal. We'll get on that. Yes, now let's move to question 3. State 2 similarities in the political organization of the Ameru and Abagusi in Kenya. Similarities in the political organization. Mark that word, political organization. Remember, in the political organization, we have those political organizations which normally or which are similar to all Kenyan communities and which you can apply to all Kenyan communities. For instance, number 1, which you can talk about, is that they had Council of Elders, or they were ruled by Council of Elders. That's the fact. It applies to all Kenyan communities. Number 2 is that they also had what we call decentralized system of government. That is, they elect an overall ruler. In this case, there is a question which normally comes, for example, give one community in Kenya which had a centralized system of government, which means this community had an overall ruler, and we are having the Wanga among the Wanga among the Western Bantus. Yes, the Wanga is the community which had a centralized system of government. Apart from that, we can also say that the clan was the basic political unit. The clan was the basic political unit, that is, which was made up of several related families. You can also add some political organizations. For example, the Yet warriors who defended the community against external attacks. Now, question 4. Give two functions of the warriors among Kenyan communities. Functions of the warriors. Of course, number one, as I had said earlier, for example, they took part in defending the community against external attacks. They were also used in raiding other communities, for example, for livestock. Question 5. State one functions of the age set among the Kenyan communities. Age sets provided warriors. We'll get on that. Question 6. State two political functions of the Council of Elders. Political. Remember, we have social or religious functions and also political functions. So much that if in case you are asked about political, talk of political functions. For instance, they maintain law and order. That is the political functions of the Council of Elders. Number 2, they also settle disputes. Question 7. Give two reasons why Kenyan communities fought against each other during pre-colonial period. You find that most of the Kenyan communities used to fight one another during the pre-colonial period, that is the period whereby the Europeans had not come to Kenya. Now, under this, we are saying that number 1, most of the Kenyan communities fought because they wanted, there was what we call competition of land for cultivation, and also number 2, competition for water and pasture. They also wanted to demonstrate their military power. Look at the Nandi even before the British came. They used to fight all the Kenyan communities, and they feel like they were so superior that they cannot be fought by any Kenyan communities. So they wanted to demonstrate their military power. Question 8. State two social functions of the Council of Elders. Social functions, I yet told you about that, or religious functions. They blessed warriors. They blessed warriors before they went to the war. They also presided over religious ceremonies. Question 9. Name one significance or name significance of Unoto ceremony among the Maasais. Remember, Unoto ceremony was among the social organization of the Maasais. This was a ceremony which was conducted, whereby it was conducted so as to graduate the Maasai Morans, or to make the Maasai Morans to become junior elders. That is the reason why that ceremony was carried out among the Maasais. Now, question 10. Identify one age group of the elders among the Akamba. Remember, among the Akamba, they had various age group of elders. For example, they had Anake, which was junior elders. They had Ndele. Ndele is the medium elders. Atumiama Kifalo, that is the full elders. And also Atumiama Itembo, that is the senior elders. So that is all to do with that topic. Let's now move to the next topic, that is the conduct between East African coast and outside world. Conduct between East African coast and outside world. This is also another important topic as far as paper 1 is concerned. You are supposed to know everything about this topic, because even this year I'm very sure it will be there. If not section B, it's also some of it content may also be tested in section A. So ensure you read and read and read. Some of the questions you expect in this topic as far as you are learned. Number 1, it can be asked, state 2 factors which encourage the Akamba to participate in long-distance trade during the 19th century. What are some of the factors which influence Akamba to participate in long-distance trade? Number 1, we can say that the Kamba land, or the Kamba, was centrally located, that is between the coast and the interior. It was found in the central part, so that is number 1 reason why they participated in long-distance trade. Number 2, and also they say that the infertility of their land was not that fertile, hence they cannot even they were not able to carry out farming. That's why they had to engage themselves in long-distance trade. Apart from that, we are also having what we call availability of goods from interior, for example, ivory and the rest. Also availability of able leaders, such as Chief Kifoi. So able leaders also enhance this type of long-distance trade. Also the demands of food. Those are the factors which made the Akamba to participate in long distance trade. Now, question 2. Identify one way in which the monsoon winds. Identify one way in which the monsoon winds led to the development of trade in the 19th century. Remember, among the factors which facilitated the coming of early visitors into the East African coast, and remember when the early visitors came, that's where the trade in the coast, for example, the Indian Ocean trade developed, is because they were aided by the monsoon winds. These monsoon winds used to help in the sailing of ships. That is it. And under monsoon winds, remember you can also be asked, for example, name two winds. Name two winds which enhance the coming of early visitors. We have the northeast monsoon winds and also the southwest monsoon winds. So ensure you know that. Now, question 3: state two ways in which mission stations promoted the spread of Christianity. Mission stations are the stations which was built by the Christian missionaries. And how did that mission stations enable the spread of Christianity? Number 1, you can say that it acted as a residential areas for Europeans. This is where Europeans used to live. Number 2, it serves as schools. It was used as schools. Remember, missionaries used to offer schools. I mean, they used to offer education to Africans in form of what we call Western civilization. They serve also as a training centers where Africans were being trained on various roles. It serves also as health centers where Africans were being, for example, where Africans used to perform various duties in these health centers. Now, question 4. Identify one factor which facilitated the contact between East African coast and outside world. Factor which facilitated the contact. This is just a question which is being, some more application under the factors which facilitated the coming of early visitors. That is the presence of monsoon winds. We have the marine technology. Also the accessibility of the coast by sea. Now, question 5. Name one community which played a key role or a leading role in long distance trade. We have the Akamba. Akamba is the community which played a key role as far as long distance trade is concerned. Question 6. Give two evidence. This question 6 is also very common. In most of the exams, you will find this question. Give two evidence which shows that Chinese traders reached the Kenyan coast. Under this question is asking about the unwritten sources of information on the East African coast. And under this, we have archaeological sources which we can apply. For example, Chinese coins, Chinese porcelain pots, and also Chinese pits. Those are the answers which we are supposed to give. Now, question 7. State the main reason for the coming of the Portuguese to the East African coast. Why did Portuguese come to the East African coast? Of course, they wanted to control the Indian Ocean trade. Question 8. Give one reason that led to decline of Kedi in the 15th century. Kedi is among the coastal cities or coastal towns. It declined mainly because, number 1, there was what we call inadequate clean water. Number 2, conquest by Portuguese. It was attacked by Portuguese. Number 3 is because decline in trade also made that town to decline. Question 9. Give the main reason why rulers of Malindi welcomed Portuguese. For example, they welcomed Portuguese in order for Portuguese to help them fight Mombasa. Now let's move to question 10. Under question 10, give two factors which influenced Said to develop agriculture. Remember, Said developed agriculture in the East African coast, that is in a place by the name Zanzibar, because number 1, Zanzibar had fertile soils, which was suitable for agriculture. Number 2, it also had suitable climate, which enhanced agriculture. Question 11, give the main reason why early visitors came to the East African coast. Of course, the reasons why these early visitors came to the East African coast is because they wanted to trade. That is the main reason why the early visitors came to the East African coast. Now let's move now to question 12. Under question 12, you have been asked, under question 12, name the missionary society which established a home of freed slaves at the coast of Kenya. Remember, we have several missionary societies, and in this case, we have asked about the missionary society which established a home for freed slaves, that is in East African coast. Now, we have this missionary society known as the Church Missionary Society. CMS is the missionary society which established a home of its slaves. For example, they established a home in the town by the name Freetown. Now, name the groups, that is question 13. Name the groups that rivaled the Portuguese for the control of the Kenyan coast. We have the Dutch. The Dutch in this case could be the Netherlands. We have also the British and the French. Those are the rivals of the Portuguese in the East African coast. I'm sure you know that question. Question 14. Name one early missionary who worked in Kenya. We have several missionaries who worked in Kenya. For example, Ludwig Kraft. And this missionary played a key role in translating the Bible, for example, from English to Kiswahili and also to all other local languages. So we are saying that he played a key role. We also have Johann Repman and also Jacob Erhard. Now, let's move to question 15. Identify the two main items of trade from the interior of Kenya during the long-distance trade. We have ivory and slaves, and also note the goods from goods from the coast. Remember, goods from the coast are the goods from the outside Kenya, right? Yes. You are also supposed to know, for example, glasses. You're also supposed to know, for example, cowrie shells, cans, and the rest. Now, question 16. Identify two contributions made by the early missionaries in the field of education in Kenya. We had seen about the mission stations, and we had said that it acted as, for example, schools. So we are saying that number one, they set up schools. They taught Africans. They also translated the Bible, and I have already told you the missionary who translated the Bible. That is Ludwig Kraft. Question 17. Give two factors which enable the early visitors to come to the Kenyan coast. Among the factors, we are having, for example, the monsoon winds. That is the northeast and southwest monsoon winds. We also having the deep uppers, which enable the sailing of ships. Now, question 18. Name one Arab family which ruled the Kenyan coast on behalf of the Oman. We have around 3 families in this case. We have the Masrui family, Nabaan family, and also another family by the name Busaidi's family. Those are the families which ruled the coast on behalf of the Arabs or the Oman rulers. Now, question 19, sorry. Give 2 ways in which the knowledge of marine technology facilitated the coming of early visitors. They are saying that it enabled them to use compass to sail. Knowledge of marine technology, it enabled them to use compass to sail. It also facilitated the constructions of boats or boat making. It also enabled them to develop skills of map reading. Question 20. Identify the town which was established by missionaries in Kenya as a center of freed slaves. That is the Freetown. 21. State the main factor which contributed to the growth of cities along the Kenyan coast. The main factor which contributed to the growth of coastal cities, that is trade. Remember, the main reason why early visitors came to the East African coast is because they came to trade. The main reasons why Portuguese came to East African coast is because they wanted to control the Indian Ocean trade. The main reason also why the coastal cities developed is because of the trade. That is it. Now, 22. Give one way in which translation of the Bible into vernacular languages facilitated the spread of Christianity. Remember, initially the Bible initially it was written in English before it was being translated by Ludwig Kraft into other languages or into local languages. And when it was translated, these are some of the importance or results after it was translated. For example, number one, we are saying that it enabled Africans to know how to read the Bible. It also enabled them to have what we call better understanding of the Bible. It also made more Africans to identify themselves as Christianity or as Christians. Question 23. Identify 2 foreign powers that took control of the Kenyan coast during the 16th century. We have the Britain and the Germany. The reason why you are saying Britain and Germany, I know that you still remember about the treaties which was signed when the East Africa was being partitioned. Remember where there was a rival between British and Germany. So we are saying that Britain and Germany are the foreign powers which took the control of the Kenyan coast in the 16th century. Now, question 24. Question 24. Give two written sources of information about East African coast. So, as a learner, ensure you know how to ensure you read the question and understand. Read the whole question, because some of the learners, especially when they are reading questions in section A, in most instances, they don't read the whole question, and you will find them giving written sources of information in history and government. But this one, written sources of history, written sources of information about the East African coast. Number one, you're having the Peripleas of the Eritrean Sea. You're having Ptolemy's geography, Christian topography, also the Greco-Roman documentaries, also writings by the Arab merchants. Those are some of the written sources. Then question 25, name two early visitors to the East African coast before 15th century. We have the Greeks and the Romans. There are many Greeks and the Romans. We also have Persians, Phoenicians, and the rest. Now let's move to the next. Topic, that is citizenship. And under citizenship, you cannot fail to find a question under citizenship that is in paper 1, section A. Citizenship is a key topic as far as section A is concerned, and some of the topics you expect as far as citizenship is concerned. Number one, state one reason why the government may limit freedom of speech, or what we are calling it freedom of expression. And we are saying number one, if one is spreading what we call false statements about someone or even about states, you are giving wrong information about someone, or you are giving false information about state or even someone, then you are being limited to freedom of expression. Number two, in case of incitement, if you are inciting other people, then that freedom of expression will be taken from you. Now, question 2, name the document which contains the rights of Kenyan citizen. Of course, the document which normally contains the rights of citizen, for example, in this case, we have the Bill of Rights. This Bill of Rights is contained in the Constitution of Kenya, that is in chapter 5. That's where you have the Bill of Rights. So if in case you write Constitution, you are still right. If in case you write a Bill of Rights, you are still right. Now, question 3. State two ways through which a person may become a Kenyan citizen. State two ways in which a person can become a Kenyan citizen. Remember, currently we are having 3 ways in which one can become a Kenyan citizen. Of course, the ones you know, for example, by birth, by registration, and we have the one which was introduced by the new constitution, that is the one for 2010, dual citizenship. So currently we are having 3. We have number 1 by birth, by registration, and through what we call dual citizenship. Now, question 4. If the main reason why a Kenyan citizen should obey the law, why should you obey the law? For example, to enhance peace and stability in the country. If in case people could not have been obeying the law, then we could have what we call political instability. There will be no peace in the country. Now, question 6. Give one economic duty of a citizen. Economic duties: to pay taxes, to fight corruption. So ensure you know about political duties of a Kenyan citizen, for example, to participate in democratic processes, to obey the laws, to protect the laws. Also know about the social responsibilities of a Kenyan citizen, for example, to promote good morals. For example, apart from to promote good morals, under the social responsibilities of a Kenyan citizen, you can also say that, for example, to maintain gender balance or gender sensitivity. So, and also know about economic responsibilities. Those 3 responsibilities: economic, political, and social. Ensure you know. Now, next question, question 5. Question 6. Of course, we have doubled that. Now, let's move to question 7. Define the term citizenship. You can be asked in any exams. You define the term citizenship. What is citizenship? Of course, under your definition, that legal right should be there. So we are saying it refers to the legal right that an individual has to belong to a country. And then question 8. Give 2 ways in which one can become a Kenyan citizen by birth. Give 2 ways in which one can become a Kenyan citizen by birth. For example, number one, how can you become a Kenyan citizen by birth? Number one, if you are born by a Kenyan parent, then automatically you will become a Kenyan citizen by birth. Number two, if a child of age 8 years and below is found and its identity is not known, that child is adopted as a Kenyan citizen. Is adopted as a Kenyan citizen by birth. Now, question 9. For example, give 2 ways in which a citizenship by birth also might be revoked. Might be revoked means could be taken away. That citizenship by birth, how will it be taken away from that person who have attained or who have become a Kenyan citizen by birth? Now, number one, if in case the identity of the child is known, for instance, if the child was coming from Uganda and the parents of that child has come from that child, then we are saying that that child citizenship is being taken away. Number two, if during the process of being taken as a Kenyan citizen, if, for example, that child has given wrong information in terms of age, for example, by 10, he or she had said that she was 7 or 6, but after which it was identified as that child was beyond 8 years, then that citizenship by birth is taken, is supposed to be taken away. Number 10, give 2 ways. Give 2 ways in which one can become a Kenyan citizen by registration. How can you become a Kenyan citizen by registration? For example, number 1, if you are married to a Kenyan citizen for a period of 7 years, you are allowed to become a Kenyan citizen by registration. Number 2, if you have lived in Kenya lawfully, mark the word lawfully, for a period of 8 years, you will also be taken as a Kenyan citizen, that is by registration. Now, question 11, give 2 ways in which one citizenship by registration may be revoked. For example, number 1, if one obtains the citizenship by fraud, you obtained the citizenship by not giving the right information. Number 2, if one assisted an enemy country during the war, that citizenship by registration will also be taken away from you. Now, question 12, state 2 advantages of dual citizenship. In case you are asked to define dual citizenship, what are you supposed to say? Dual citizenship is a process in which one is given a right to become a citizen of 2 countries. For instance, Kenya and Uganda, Kenya and USA, Kenya and Canada. Look at even someone like Miguna. Miguna is having what we call dual citizenship. He's a citizen of Kenya and at the same time citizen of Canada. Now, let's move to the next question. That is, so we are saying when one is having dual citizenship, we are saying under advantages, one can live in any of the countries. You can decide either you live in Kenya or anywhere. One can also work in any of the country. Let's move to question 13. State 2 rights of aliens in Kenya. Who are aliens in this case? Aliens are the people who are living in Kenya, but they are not citizens of Kenya. And they are also quoted with various rights, for example, land rights and social rights. Now, next question, state 2 rights of, give 2 ways in which freedom of movement may be limited. This is also a common question. Freedom of movement. For example, in an event or when there is what we call spread of a dangerous disease. Look at what happened in Kenya when COVID-19 came. We had lockdowns everywhere and even curfews. So it means that the freedom of movement was curtailed or it was limited. Now, when also rehabilitating a drug addict, the person, for example, a person who is really addicted to drugs can be taken to a rehabilitation center where that person is not supposed to move to any other place. Also, when securing a welfare of a person of unsound mind, unsound mind means what? Insane person. Also, when securing a welfare of a child below 18 years of age. Question 15. State 2 ways in which one right to life may also be limited. For example, when one is securing his properties, also in an event of war. Now, let's move now to the next topic, that is the national integration. I hope you are still following what we are saying. Ensure that you really understand, and we also make some short notes which will enable you to revise for this paper 1, that is section A. So ensure you follow it well, and also make some notes, and also if possible you share the notes or you share this video so that other learners might also be able to learn what we have learned today.